Hello, I'm the 10-minute English teacher. Let's get you exam ready. Today we're thinking about non-fiction writing, and we're going to be thinking about how to write to argue, advise and persuade. Okay, to start, let's think about the persuasive techniques you know. So maybe on a piece of paper, if you want to, you can write down the techniques that you do know and think of an example for each one. You can pause the video now, or you can move on to find out some techniques from me. You may know this mnemonic, AFORREST. So these are persuasive techniques that you might have learned in your lessons, and I'll take you through them. We've got addressing the reader. So making sure that you're using those pronouns that address the reader and make it personal to the reader and challenge them. We've also got facts. Using facts in your piece of writing can be persuasive, as can including opinions. Lots of people tend to include the opinions of experts or people that might have been witnesses, depending on what it is you've been asked to write. Repetition of words and phrases can be something that's really persuasive. Using repetition is something that can make your writing interesting. Using repetition is something that can be persuasive. We all know to use rhetorical questions, where we ask a question of the reader. Can you imagine? And then we challenge them in that way in regards to trying to make them think about their own views and values. Emotive language appeals to your reader by drawing on their feelings. And we've got statistics as well as tripling, which you might also know as the rule of three. So those are some persuasive techniques. One thing you do need to do, though, is think about how useful that is. It is a very, very good framework for you to use, and it's definitely worth knowing. But if you're in an examination, I would definitely recommend not writing that down anywhere near your response. It just signposts your examiner that you're not somebody who's completely confident in just beginning your response and doing that with confidence. So I would definitely try to avoid writing anything like this down first. Planning your answer is sensible, and that's something that definitely shows that you're thinking about your wider piece of writing. But writing down things like this on the piece of paper, I would definitely do your revision in good time and ensure that that's not something that you need to do. I do want to say that using facts and opinions and statistics sometimes isn't the best option. It might work, but I don't think that's something that you need to walk into the examination thinking, I must do that. Including the opinion of an expert and made up statistics might help fill the page, but it doesn't always seem believable and convincing, which students who achieve the highest marks will be. Now here is a piece of cheese, and here's a question that you could be asked about cheese. Cheese should be banned. Write a speech arguing in favour of banning cheese and argue in favour for or against. Now, you probably wouldn't be asked about cheese because the likelihood is hundreds of thousands of children aren't going to have a really good working knowledge of all the different varieties of cheese and may not have strong opinions about cheese. So that's not likely what you're going to get. So you don't need to worry. But I'm using that today to give you some examples of persuasive writing. So here are some from me. Cheese is amazing. So I'm arguing in favour of cheese. So think of all the things you can do with cheese. I'm addressing the reader there. I'm directly speaking to them in my writing. And here's a rhetorical question. Can you honestly imagine a world without cheese on the shelves of our supermarkets? Here's a bit of tripling. I've used 3 adjectives here to talk about cheese. Cheese is versatile, affordable and delicious. And while I'm there, at the end of your response, one of the things you should do is edit. Now, I might have said the word lovely instead of versatile. And if I've got 5 minutes at the end to read my work back carefully, I'm going to edit. So I might have said cheese is lovely, affordable and delicious, and then thought, hang on, I can do better than that. And I would have put a line through lovely and written versatile above it, using some ambitious vocabulary to improve my outcome. I've got cheese is a part of our history, and cheese is a part of the fabric of so many lives. I'm using a couple of words and phrases there that are being repeated to try and really drive my point home. And here I've got a lovely little fact. Today, more types of cheese are being made in Britain than ever before. Now, remember that the examiner simply wants to know that you can plan a response that's believable and that you can write with a persuasive tone and you can do that accurately. They're not really interested in your ability to make up statistics and really, I mean, it might lend credibility to what you do, but that isn't something that you need to be spending a lot of time thinking about or really planning for. Your writing needs to be believable. It's the voice in the writing that counts. Now, in order for you to be black belt, I'm going to give you a secret move today. But here's an example of what I was talking about in that use of statistics that sometimes isn't really believable. Did you know that 76% of people in Britain will eat cheese today? That's a 14% increase since last year. John Duckworth of the Cheese Lovers Club said, discovering new cheeses is something you should try. Well, it's not bad, but it just doesn't feel black belt. If I'm reading that as an examiner, I know that's a young person making up statistics. And it's not an examination where we're really testing your ability to be able to make statistics up. We're more interested in your uses of language. So here is how you can earn your black belt. Rather than thinking about introducing an expert, why don't you take on the counter argument? So think about what someone who doesn't agree with you would say, and then sort of take that opinion on in your writing. So have a paragraph where you take on the counter argument. And here I've done that. Some people talk about cheese being bland and boring, but perhaps these are people who lack adventure and simply haven't tried a wide variety of cheeses. The subtle notes of a good manchego have yet to be savoured by so many. Now, you're not going to be asked about cheese in the exam because it would really disadvantage all of you. There's going to be a few of you who might be cheese experts, but the majority of you are going to be stuck. So what the examiner will do is offer you some questions that they know you'll be able to access. Here are some questions for you, the style that you would be given in an English language GCSE examination. So we've got 4 here. Why don't you choose one and then take that on yourself and try and use as many persuasive techniques as you can, and also take on the counter argument in your response. Pets are a waste of time and money. Mobile phones should be banned in schools and colleges. Young people should be encouraged to do work in their communities for free. Holidaying at home is more rewarding than going abroad. What I'd recommend you do is choose a form like a letter or a speech or an article. Those are the sort of things you're going to be asked to write in your examination. Choose something that you'd like to, choose a form and then take on that argument, argue for or against, and take on the counter argument in your writing. Check out the other videos on my channel. I'll continue to add content. Feel free to ask for something you'd like to see me cover in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share with your friends, and keep revising.